إلهي إن كان الندم على الذنب توبة
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. We seek the protection of God from Shaitan, who has been expelled from God's kingdom of special grace and mercy. If we avoid the satanic habits of arrogance, whatever we know to be true and righteous and virtuous, by the guidance of the God-given intellect and the divine revelation and human conscience, we submit. And if we avoid the satanic habit of defiance, whatever we know to be wrong and evil and false, by the guidance of the God-given intellect and divine revelation and human conscience, we don't commit. And if we have reliance on God, we will get the strength to be able to distinguish what is satanic and what is godly in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our motives. And we'll get the strength to be able to resist and to overcome any temptations. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We humbly seek the grace and guidance from God because He is Allah, the absolute perfect being. Nobody can achieve any goodness or perfection until and unless Allah wills it so. And we ask for His grace and guidance because He is Rahman. His Rahmah, His mercy, His love reaches out to each and every entity, brings it to life, empowers it, enables it to reach its goal of creation. And we ask for His special grace and guidance because He is Rahim. His extra love and grace and mercy is available in abundance, in continuity, for eternity, for all of us who believe in Him and who submit to His will. Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to God and God alone. Today I quote a praise from Imam Hassan bin Ali al-Mujtaba al-Sayyid al-Zaki. When he was asked to describe God in such clear details, it's as if I will be able to see Him. So Imam alayhi salam responds, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah alladhi lam yakun lahu awwalun ma'loom wala akhirun mutanahin wala qablun mudrak ولا بعد محدود ولا أمد بحتى ولا شخص فيتجزأ ولا اختلاف صفة فيتناهى فلا تدرك العقول وأوهامها ولا الفكر وخطراتها ولا الألباب وأذهانها صفته. Imam alayhi salam says, you want me to be able to describe to you a physical form of God so that you can clearly see Him? No, that is an impossibility. Because essentially He is not something physical or material to be visualized by the material senses. Praise be to Him, to the one who has no known beginning. There is no definite beginning and no end to Him. Praise be to Him that there is no comprehensible, perceptible before Him or after Him, and therefore this question is invalid. When was He not there, or when will He not be there? This question of trying to circumscribe and limit and describe Him will therefore make him composite, whereas he is unlimited. In fact, his qualities and his attributes are so great, so unlimited, that each individual quality cannot be comprehended. Forget about the combination of the different beautiful names that he has. And therefore, no intellect and no mind and no spirit can ever conceive the possibility of comprehending his true essence. Forget about his essence, not even comprehend the attributes which are inseparable and the core of his essence. So we can't ask when or up till when. فَيَقُولُ مَتَى حَتَّى وَلَا بُدِئَ مِمَّا وَلَا ظَاهِرٌ عَلَى مَا وَلَا بَاطِنٌ فِيمَا وَلَا تَارِكٌ فَهَلَّا. You can't even say where is he located in, what is he on. خلق الخلق فكان بديئا بديعا ابتدأ ما ابتدع وابتدع ما ابتدأ وفعل ما أراد وأراد ما استزاد ذلكم الله رب العالمين. Essentially, we need to get away from this expectation that we will ever be able to comprehend God in his totality, to his core, in physical or material terms, because essentially he is unlimited, and the limited mind cannot comprehend the unlimited in its entirety. أوصيكم عباد الله ونفسي بتقوى الله. Community of believers, I wish to remind you, as I do myself, about the necessity of taqwa. During the time when the Khilafah was in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi alayhi, the Salatul Jumu'ah in the headquarters that he had settled in Kufa was being conducted by himself. But occasionally, if he was sick or if he was traveling, he would delegate and appoint Imam Hassan alayhi salam to conduct the khutbah. So one of the khutbahs reported from Imam Hassan alayhi salam is, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَبْعَثْ نَبِيًّا إِلَّا اخْتَارَ لَهُ نَقِيبًا وَرَهْطًا وَبَيْتًا. Allah, amongst all creation, selects special messengers, but not messengers alone. Along with the messengers, there will be those who are closest to him. There will be his family and his successor and his representative. فَوَالَّذِي بَعَثَ مُحَمَّدًا بِالْحَقِّ نَبِيًّا لا ينتقص منا حقنا من حقنا أهل البيت أحد إلا نقصه الله من عمله مثله. And therefore, just like all the other messengers who had a divinely appointed successor, so also the last messenger has a divinely appointed successor. Whosoever therefore degrades, dismisses, demeans, disregards the Ahl Bayt of the Prophet, correspondingly therefore Allah will dismiss and disregard and demean and degrade the reward that that individual deserves. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be transferred to the ummah in the best manner possible through the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. La takunu alayna dawla. There is no false, illegitimate government who will rise up against us. Illa wa takuna lana al-aqibah. But that ultimately victory will belong to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Wa la ta'lamunna naba'ahu ba'da heen. It's only a matter of time before the truth will show itself. So the fact that after the assassination of his father and the initial period, temporary period when he was in Khilafah, Unfortunately, then he is displaced. He is forced to surrender in a settlement of peace with Muawiyah. This despite the fact that his status as the competent, as the compassionate, as the generous, as the wise leader of the Ummah after the Prophet, especially when the Prophet ﷺ has already introduced him that Hassan is Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah Ajma'een min al-awwalin wal-akhirin, and that Al-Hasan wal-Husayn imamani qama aw qa'ada, and that man ahabbani falyuhibba hasanan Allahumma inni uhibbuhu fa'ahibbahu wa ahibba man yuhibbuh. Oh Allah, I love Hassan, the Prophet says, and therefore, oh Allah, you also should love whosoever loves Hassan alayhi salam. Well, to love, to claim to love, and then not to obey his commands when he was the Khalifa means that we automatically deprive ourselves of the dua of the Prophet and also the reward from God. The fact that Allah chooses some people to become His selected representatives, it means there's something in this individual that qualifies him. And one of the fundamental, most important quality of a person to be chosen as the representative of God is the degree to which he knows who God is, what His beautiful names are, how God is governing the universe, what His plan is for the creation, and what our duty is towards this God. The more we know, the more we are aware, the more we realize this fundamental reality, the closer we are to God, and therefore qualified to become His representatives. And therefore we find in the seerah of Imam Hassan alayhi salam that whenever he would remember God, his body would tremble. So for example, when he would engage in wudu in preparation for salah, he would be seen to be trembling. His color would go pale off the face out of fear. Or when the muazzin would call the adhan, he would appear worried from the fear that can he actually prepare himself to present himself before the majestic Lord or not. Or when he appears at the door of the mosque, he would recite this dua, Allahumma dayfuka bibabik. Oh Allah, your guest has come to your house. I don't deserve to get hospitality, but you are generous to give me your hospitality. Ya Muhsin, qad ataka al-musi'. Oh, the good, generous, compassionate, munificent, beneficent Lord, the sinner has come in your presence. قد أتاك المسيء وقد أمرت المحسن أن يتجاوز عن المسيء. And you are the ones who, and you, O Lord, has instructed us, the servants, the good amongst us, to pardon and to forgive the wrongdoers amongst us. Here I am, the wrongdoer before you, and I seek your forgiveness. This ultimate sense of humility, despite all the sinless infallibility of the Imam alayhi salam, in recognition and realization of God's greatness and majesty and of His lowliness before the Lord, this is the ultimate secret of the reason why they are chosen to become the Imam. I would like to discuss this important issue which unfortunately has happened in the world, the attack on innocent individuals in Paris, more than 100 attacked in different locations and brutally, mercilessly killed. And obviously the world has reacted, world leaders, religious leaders, the general public, the social media is buzzing with condemnation. And as President Obama expressed the sentiment of the public, this is an attack on the on the whole of humanity, the universal values that we share. And these terrorists are against freedom, are against the humanity of man. They only understand the language of force. And this is not the only incident. Terrorism has been affecting the world throughout, be it in Paris, be it before that in Lebanon, before that in Iraq, or ongoing in Syria, or in Africa, in Nigeria. And therefore, it's important for us to be able to respond from the religious perspective to the challenges that the Muslim Ummah now will face because of this terrorist attack. Number one, of course, Muslims everywhere do condemn and continue to condemn these acts of terrorism. So be it the general Muslim public, be it the clerics, be it the different mazhabs, be it even the Wahhabi Mufti, he also has declared that terrorism and the terrorists are not sanctioned in Islam, and that these acts of terrorism are contrary to the values and the teachings of mercy which Islam has brought to the world. And therefore we find every prominent Muslim group and Islamic group and religious leaders, they have condemned the Islamic State terrorist act in some way or the other. Books have been written, arguments have been presented, long epistles, conferences, summits have been held. So for anyone in the world now to doubt, why are the Muslims quiet? No, the Muslims are not quiet. The Muslims do condemn. This is definitely not something about which the Muslims will keep quiet. And number two, the Muslim response is that you cannot accuse Muslims of terrorism because a small, fringe, marginalized, extremist minority group claiming to be Muslims in the name of Islam is conducting these terrorist acts. They don't represent the majority of the Muslims. In fact, they don't represent Islam. Every religion will have small extremists who will carry out horrific acts, and therefore we cannot blame the rest. You know, there's this famous American basketball player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He says that when the blacks in America were being attacked by this extremist group, the Ku Klux Klan, when they come and burn the blacks, they lynch the blacks. This is a Christian group. The rest of the Christians are not expected, or they're not required to come and explain to everybody else that, sorry, the Klux Klan, they're not Christians. Well, Christians have their own extremists in America. In Uganda, the Lord's army is committing extremist violent acts. Every faith, be it the Buddhists, be it the Hindus, be it the Jews, be it the Sikh, be it the secular groups, the animal rights activists, environmental rights activists, even the atheists. How many wars have been conducted by these godless communists in their own time? No, you cannot expect the majority peaceful Muslims to be able to become answerable for a small fringe lunatic, crazy, uncontrolled group when the rest of the Muslims condemn this. In fact, number three, Islam, forget about Muslims, Islam condemns this. Definitely there is no law in Islam that can justify the killing of the innocents. In fact, the killing of the innocent, there is a law of qisasi, there's a law of diya, and amongst all the laws of qisasi, the harshest is for the terrorist. In Surah Ma'idah chapter 5, after the incident of the first man who was killed on the earth, Habil killed by Qabil. After that story, In Surah Ma'idah, Allah says, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. You kill one soul, you have killed everyone. Kwanini, you don't respect humanity anymore. And then the next ayah, ayah number 33 says, إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا. The terrorist, the jaza for him is أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض. Either they should be arrested and killed, or no, they should be crucified, or no, they should be dismembered, or no, they should be exiled and deported, depending on the degree of the terrorist act that they have committed. So not only terrorism is not condoned, one of the harshest ever. Qisasi has been legislated for this act in Islam. Yes, but Al-Qaeda and the others may have their own muftis who give fatwas. Yeah, but they are so-called muftis. In every field you have disqualified, unqualified quacks who claim they're experts and who give their own fatwas. In any country, no person can claim he is a doctor licensed to practice and to prescribe and to treat if he doesn't have the necessary certificate which is awarded by experts in the field. So also for the fatwa. Who qualifies these muftis of Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State to be able to give such fatwas? In every field you'll find these disqualified quacks. In the government, in any country you will always find a small fringe of people known as the anarchists. They don't believe in the government, they don't accept the parliament, they don't accept the laws of the government, of the majority of the democracy. So does that mean therefore the anarchists are right and the majority are wrong? No, these fringe fatwa makers are not acceptable by the majority. Not only Islam does not accept terrorism and legislates the harshest punishments, in fact, the leaders, Amirul Mu'mineen, and after him Imam Hassan alayhi salam and Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when they were challenged with a terrorist government, a terrorist power, they took action. But in their action, they were always very careful about how they used their force. So for example, in this month of Safar, Amirul Mu'mineen engaged in a battle known as the Battle of Siffin, in which Imam Hassan alayhi salam was also a commander. A commander who was so brave, who was right in the forefront, that till Amirul Mu'mineen gets afraid that perhaps the risk of him dying is greater when there are others, and therefore he gives instruction, call him back, لِأَلَّا يَنْقَطِعَ نَسْلُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ, because the Prophet's nestle will go through Hassan and Hussein alayhim as-salam. And the fact is that the Sadat of Bani Hassan and the Sadat of Bani Hussein alayhi salam from Imam Zainul Abidin downwards are now spreading because of that policy of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. But in that battle, when initially he arrives in Sham, Muawiyah's army takes control of the Furat and does not allow Ali alayhi salam's army to drink water from there. Instead of immediately engaging in battle and using force and violence, he dispatches somebody to negotiate, Sa'sa' bin Sawhan. Tell Muawiyah, we have come this far all the way from Kufa to negotiate, not to fight. But even before negotiations, you have started the fight. You have by force removed our army from the water. So, allow us access to water and then we can start negotiations. Unfortunately, Muawiyah seeks advice. His advisors tell him, no, we are the brave ones, they can't do anything, continue with your deprivation of water. Amr bin As says, no, you don't know Ali alayhi salam, you can never ever stop him if he wants to get access to water. Muawiyah unfortunately doesn't listen, and there is a skirmish and the army of Sham is removed from the water. But the principle is this: Imam alayhi salam does not use force on day one. till the last day, till the last hour, he postpones the use of force against those who are committed to attack and to kill. In fact, to the point when people start complaining, they say, why are you delaying the fight? People are saying that maybe you are beginning to hesitate and to doubt. Maybe you think Muawiyah is right and you are wrong. Maybe you are afraid to die. Objections, suspicions, wrong speculation about him. And therefore, in khutbah number 55, he responds to this allegation very strongly. But towards the end of that khutbah, he says, مَا دَفَعْتُ الْحَرْبَ يَوْمًا, I have not deliberately delayed to start the fight by even one day. إِلَّا وَأَنَا أَطْمَعَ نَتَمَانِي وَأَنَا أَطْمَعَ أَن تَلْحَقَ بِي طَائِفَةٌ فَتَهْتَدِي بِي. I want to talk, to negotiate, to discuss, to present, to explain why I've come here, why we think the other side is wrong, why we think we are right. Perhaps there are people there who are ready to listen and will change their minds. And they did change their minds. And some people did cross over. He said, for me to save one life is worth it. Terrorism in Islam? Absolutely not. This is not what our leaders have practiced. They have preferred to give up life just in order to save life. And furthermore, I like this statement made by one scholar from the University of Cambridge. Oh, but Islam allows jihad and go and kill the kafir. No, you have to know who is the kafir and how many types of kafir are there. And which kafir is the one against whom the attack is allowed? Jihad is in self-defense. The kafir has to be an aggressor. And there is no way to negotiate. And as a last resort, yes, it's allowed. So this University of Cambridge scholar says that terrorism with jihad is just like adultery to marriage. Marriage is halal. Adultery is haram. Jihad is halal, terrorism is haram. Everything has its own conditions and limitations. It's the Sharia which has to tell us what is right and what is wrong. Incidentally, scholars who study terrorism realize it's not religion which promotes terrorism, it's politics. People who are in power want to use the name of religion, want to use terrorism for their own political gains. Amirul Mu'mineen in letter number 62, he responds to Muawiyah. He says, I have to take action because I'm afraid power will fall in the hands of those. ولكنني آسى أن يلي هذه الأمة أمر هذه الأمة سفهاؤها وفجارها فيتخذ مال الله دولا وعباده خولا. I am afraid if we allow such people to continue to get power, they will abuse this power. They will enslave people for their own material benefits. They will use public treasury as if it's their family money for their own family. This is the reason why I have to oppose. He knew religion could be used and will be used for personal gain by sufaha, he calls them, the foolish, the illiterate, the ignorant. These are not Muslims. وَفُجَّارُهَا, the sinners and the criminals and the wrongdoers. This is what the Islamic State is according to. Unfortunately, this name is very misleading. The moment now, unfortunately, people hear about Islam and about a state, a negative connotation, a negative association is made. Neither is this Islam, nor is this a real state. But unfortunately, the damage has been done, and we have to respond. Ultimately, the world has to realize that statistics show that the number of people who die because of terrorism, a small number is non-Muslims. The majority is Muslims. Muslims are the victims of terrorism themselves. Who is the one who should complain? The non-Muslim? The Muslim themselves have to condemn and complain and rise up and unify their forces. against terrorists. The vast majority of the victims, according to the United States National Counterterrorism Center and Global Terrorism Database at the University of Maryland, shows that 60% of the fatalities due to terrorist attacks take place in Iraq, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan. Who are the people living in these countries? Not non-Muslims. Majority are Muslims. No. In some of these places, the majority are Shia. The primary target of these extremists, the Shia. And therefore, ultimately, we say that terrorism has no place in Islam. If we had the true leaders, look at Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Look at the degree of compassion he had. It is said that on one occasion, he was passing and there's a group of poor people eating food. So they invite him. He disembarks from his horse, he sits down with them, he partakes of the food, and then he invites them home. He says, in response to your hospitality, now it's my duty to call you. And then he calls them and not only feeds them, but also clothes them. This is the compassion the leader should have. You think such a leader would want to kill other people? No. So much compassion and good treatment even to slaves. What we hear about Imam Zainul Abidin, that a slave makes a mistake and then Imam alayhi salam frees that slave. Before that, Imam Hassan alayhi salam has done that. No, forget about slaves who are disregarded and Imam upgrades them. Forget about poor people who are dismissed and Imam honors them. Even a dog, or which animal is more najis in the Sharia? Najasa, tahara has got his own rules. But he's an animal created by God who is good in his own way. And he does good things even for human beings. He can hunt for humans. He can protect humans. In money laundering, he can even detect dollars, I heard. Oh, he can do a lot of things, this dog. Helps in security. But look at the way Imam alayhi salam treats a dog. Ra'aytul Hassan, one of the narrators says, Ya'akulu. He was sitting on one occasion eating Imam Hassan alayhi salam. There was a dog in front of him. كلما أكل لقمة طرح للكلب مثلها. Every time he took one morsel, he gave one morsel to the dog. So I said, يا ابن رسول الله ألا أرجم هذا الكلب من طعامك. He's harassing you, he's disturbing you. Let me throw a stone and make him go away. قال دعه. No, don't do that. إني لأستحيي من الله عز وجل أن يكون ذو روح ينظر في وجهي وأنا آكل ثم لا أطعمه. I am ashamed and embarrassed before God that any living being, not a human, not a poor, not a non-Muslim, living being, an animal, is watching me as I'm eating and enjoying God's mercy and grace and bounties, and I don't share with this other living being. Such an imam becomes a leader of the Muslim ummah. You think ever there will be terrorism? Let's pray to Allah that the rest of the world joins us in commemoration and mourning and grieving for the loss of such an imam of the ummah. Allahumma salli. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal Asr. Allah swears by time. And this time is important, the day of the martyrdom of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Innal insana lafi khusr. Man is in a state of loss if he doesn't realize his duty towards God. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. Except for those who believe the truth and who live by the truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. And then they spread this message of truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And collectively fight against evil. صدق الله العظيم.